Hello and welcome to this reworked and remastered Devil May Cry 5 Hell in Hell S-Rank guide. This reworked guide will feature an improved and extended baseline for Nero and some new, more stylish and consistent way to fight some enemies, in particular the Antennoras and the Fury. I would yet again like to start off by setting aside a few minutes to talk about the mode, the difficulty and the general idea of what we're going to do here. Firstly, my main motive for creating these guides is to debunk a few myths and misconceptions that have been attributed to S-ranking Hell in Hell mode in this game on certain trophy and achievement hunting sites and the Devil May Cry 5 forums. The first one is that taking even a single hit will completely void you out of the S-rank on the mission in question, as it will add a penalty multiplier to your score. This is not true. The only consequence of taking a single hit is that you lose the 1.2 and the 2.0 score multiplier. Only if you lose all 3 gold orbs by taking 3 hits will you actually get a penalty mutator. This means that you can take up to 2 hits per mission, as long as you get the required 5,500 style points for S. The second misconception that has followed off the ladder is that since you lose all the bonus multipliers, you pretty much have to play like a DMC god and obtain the triple S ranks in all the fights and also keep the S rank throughout all the fights. This is also not true. While the ranking system in this game is pretty arbitrary and based on particular values and parameters for each individual fight, unlike Devil May Cry 4's absolute and fixed values, getting a single S rank and a double S here and there is usually enough to knock you well over 5,500 style points, as long as you actually fight the bosses and get at least an A to a single S rank on them. The only mission you really have to worry about getting some triple S's on is mission 8, to get over the 5,500 style points and be able to take up to 2 hits, but it's not a major concern for worry, I assure you. Mission 5 with V is also hard to get over 5,500 style points on by fighting normally. Anyhow, these two misconceptions has led to certain sites portraying this as one of the hardest games ever to get all the trophies or achievements, with a 10 out of 10 difficulty rank. Among the likes of games like Wolfenstein the New Colossus and even Super Meat Boy. Now, since the game has been released, people have found out some cheese strategies or overpowered moves and sometimes argued against the 10 out of 10 difficulty. The two major references here are using the Dr. Faust hat with Dante and turning on auto assist with V and going for the no damage 2.0 and the 1.2 no continuous score multipliers. Counter arguments to this, however, have been that since you still need to play perfect with Nero, and since he doesn't have any cheese strategies or overpowered moves, the difficulty in the end is still 10 out of 10. So what I want to show you here is how to play Nero both safe and stylish at the same time, and how to go for the 5,500 style points on each mission. The point of this is to avoid going for the bonus multipliers and taking no damage, which is usually accomplished by just jumping around and shooting and hoping for the best. Not only will you have full control of the fights instead, knowing what to do in each encounter, you will also be able to take up to 2 hits per mission, and thus hopefully alleviating some of the tediousness and nervousness associated with the Hell in Hell difficulty in this game. Alright, so first up we're gonna establish what I like to refer to as a baseline, which is a standard set of moves that you can use against 70% of the enemies in the Hell in Hell mode. And it involves jumping in the air, wire snatching, jump cancelling off the enemy, and wire snatching after, like this. So you wire snatch, jump cancel off the enemy, and wire snatch again, and repeat, to get maximum air. And the point of this is that when you don't have the camera fixated on enemies in this game, they become pacified, and they just stand idle and don't do anything. Even enemies that shoot, like the Baphomet or the Pyrobats, they won't do anything to you as long as you don't have the camera on them. So for the actual combo, we're gonna add a move before the jump cancel. And first up, we're gonna add a slash and try to exceed it. So it's slash exceed jump cancel wire snatch, slash exceed jump cancel wire snatch, over and over. And for the actual combo, we're just gonna add a move between the slash and the jump cancel. A special move like the caliber or the pay line, as you're seeing here. So I slash, try to exceed the slash, and then do an exceeded caliber jump cancel and wire snatch after, and then I just repeat. And the moves that I do before the jump cancel are the caliber, as you already seen. And what you also can do is, when you have a charge shot ready, after the jump cancel, you shoot a charge shot to maximize style and damage. And the second move I use is the pay line. So I jump cancel, pay line, as you're seeing here, into the baseline. And the roulette spin, as you can see here, after he's spinned, I do the jump cancel when I'm at the same height as the enemy, same vertical height. And shooting and jump canceling in between each shot like this. And you can do this forever until the enemy die. You see, you stay in the air like this forever. And you can just repeat that over and over until the enemy dies. It's very useful against the Antennoras. And last but not least, the split. So I do a split, jump cancel it, and then I shoot the charge shot, so the enemy won't continue down. Because the enemy continues down towards the ground when you do the split, so I shoot after the split. As you're seeing here now, the enemy falls down when I do the split, and I was out of range for the wire snatch, so I always shoot after the split. I try to add that to my muscle memory. Whenever I do a split, I shoot immediately after the jump cancel. Alright, so now I'm just gonna let it play out here. As you're seeing here, I do a wire snatch, I jump, do a wire snatch, then I slash, exceed the slash, do a move, jump cancel the move, and wire snatch immediately after. Then I just mix it up. I mix the pay line, the caliber, and the split up here. And I try to shoot after the split, or whenever I have a charge shot ready. Between the jump cancel and the wire snatch, I shoot. And as you can see here, I'm staying in the air and I'm completely safe. And here I'm gonna let it play out in a very tight fight. And the riots can be very annoying when you fight them on the ground. But as you're gonna see here, they're not gonna do anything at all. They become completely pacified. And I can just take out one riot at a time with the baseline. Stay in the air, juice up style points, focus on exceeding. So slash, move, jump cancel, wire snatch, slash, move, jump cancel, wire snatch, focusing on exceeding the slash. You can also exceed the move like the caliber or the pay line, but it's a bit harder, but you'll get used to it if you practice it a bit. And remember to shoot after you do the split, so the enemy won't fall down to the ground. And here's the baseline again against some Proto Angelos. There I'm shooting and jump cancelling in between each shot. And then a wire snatch, slash, exceed, move, wire snatch. Next up is the camera manipulation technique. I'm gonna show how it plays out here in a fight against the pyrobats. They can shoot, but they won't even fire a single shot here because I'm gonna do the first part of the baseline, jump cancel and the wire snatch, to gain maximum height here. As you see, I have the camera off all the other pyrobats. So when I have maximum height, I just use the baseline to finish them off one at a time here, without them even firing a single shot. And as you saw there again, I shot after the split. And as you can see, it also builds style, even though you're repeating the same moves over and over. Next up, I'm gonna show you how to fight multiple enemies. And I do that by doing a streak into a group of them, and then I cancel the streak with Devil Trigger into either a maximum bet or Devil Trigger launch and jump, and the baseline, like you're seeing here. So a max acted streak into a group, Devil Trigger cancel, maximum bet, or max acted streak into a group, Devil Trigger cancel, jump, and the baseline. Another thing you can do is gerbera into a group, and then cancel the gerbera animation with the Devil Trigger and launch multiple enemies. And this is good for building style quickly. So I just gerbera into a group of enemies and use the Devil Trigger and launch them into the baseline. And you see here I've got up to a triple S very quick here. It's also good as a safe strat. In case you land and you are surrounded, you just initiate Devil Trigger and launch multiple enemies into the baseline. Next up is an enemy that I used to dread, but not anymore, the Hell Antennora. So what you do is you wire snatch him, launch him, jump, initiate Devil Trigger, grab him, he bounces back up, you shoot, you jump cancel in between each shot, and do a roulette spin to finish him off. Launch him, jump, Devil Trigger, grab, shoot, jump cancel in between each shot, and then a roulette spin to finish him off. Gonna see it play out here now in an actual fight. So wire snatch, launch him, jump, initiate Devil Trigger, grab him, and then you shoot and jump cancel in between each shot, and then a roulette spin to finish him off. And what's good here is that the jump cancel, it cancels out the charge shot, so you won't knock him back. And even if you do a charge shot, you can grab him quickly like this, like you're just seeing here now, and he won't get pushed back. And power armor. But the Antennora is what I like to refer to as a special enemy, which means that the regular baseline doesn't work, because if you do a caliber or a charge shot on him, he will gain power armor and fall to the ground and start initiating, he goes into berserk mode. But the special enemy is an enemy that the regular baseline doesn't work on. So let's go through the rest of the special enemies. The special enemies are the Death Scissor, the Proto Angelo, the Nobody, the Behemoth, and last but not least the Fury. But let's start now with the Death Scissor, because they come the earliest on Hell and Hell. They come on mission 2. So what I do against the Death Scissor is I slash 2 times and then I jump cancel. And then I mix the slashes up with the roulette spin. And close the distance with the caliber, like you're seeing here now. And I also close the distance with the pay line to mix it up. And then I anticipate that after I've done a few slashes she will counter attack, and then I gerber away. And then, since I jump cancelled off her, I reset the caliber, as you're seeing here now, and I caliber back after she retaliates, and I gerber away. And then I just repeat that. And it may look a bit complicated or fancy here, but it really isn't. You just do a few slashes, jump cancel, and anticipate your counterattack like you just saw. Then you gerber away and close the distance with the caliber, or the pay line. And she will, you'll be able to critical hit her after you've done a few attacks to her. Alright, so 3 of the special enemies you can Devil Trigger launch. You just stand next to them and initiate Devil Trigger, and they will get knocked down, and you can do special moves on them or grab them. And those enemies are the Proto Angelo, the Hell Judecca, and the Nobody. And I'm gonna show the Proto Angelo here now first. So as you're seeing here, what I do, I just stand next to him, initiate Devil Trigger, and he gets knocked down, and I do a showdown on him. And that builds a lot of style and does a ton of damage. And then I grab him after to do even more free damage on him. And he will continue to be knocked down for a while here, so I just try to spam as much attacks as possible in here. And so I stand next to him, initiate Devil Trigger, he gets knocked down, I do a showdown. It builds a ton of style, does a ton of damage. And then I grab him. And he continues to be knocked down for a while, and I just spam attacks at him. And he gets knocked down again, and he's a goner. The only thing you need to keep in mind when you fight the special enemies is that you leave them for last. So you use the baseline and the camera manipulation technique and kill whatever enemies you can do the baseline on. And then you leave the special enemies for last. So the Nobody is the exact same principle as the Proto Angelo. I just Devil Trigger launch him, do a few attacks in between, and then the showdown. And that will almost completely take away his health. And then I just caliber towards him again and start hammering him, so he won't have time to do anything at all. I also initiate with the caliber, as you're seeing here, and then I launch him with the Devil Trigger after the caliber. Do a few attacks and then the showdown. Then he will usually jump away, and then you just caliber or streak towards him and start hammering him again until he dies. So caliber towards him, initiate Devil Trigger, launch him, do an attack or two, showdown. And he's a goner. You can also Devil Trigger launch the Hell Judecca and then grab him after to do a lot of damage. But what you want to make sure is that you take care of his minions first. And as you can see here, I'm deviating a bit from the Hell Antennora baseline. I'm not doing the launch because I want to stay on the ground as little as possible when there are a Hell Judecca and other enemies around. But against the Canina here, I'm just using the regular baseline to finish him off quickly. And here, as you see, I snatch the Hell Antennora up and start jump cancelling and shoot in between each shot immediately. And then I do a roulette spin when the charges run out, grab him, and then wire snatch him back up, and shoot and jump cancel in between each shot again. And then it's just a regular baseline here against the last Canina. So what you want to do against Hell Antennora is wait for him to do an attack so you can attack him. And then you pay line into him and cancel the pay line with the Devil Trigger and grab him. And there he's summoned. So I Devil Triggered, I pay line and Devil Trigger cancelled it to launch him. But what you have to do is you have to shoot in between the Devil Trigger and the grab. And as you're seeing here, I'm not doing it now, so he's just teleporting away. So I wait for him to do an attack. Dodge it. Then I pay line, devil trigger, cancel, shoot a charge shot, jump, and then grab him. And that's gonna take away a lot of his health. And then I'm just gonna shoot another charge shot to finish him off. Let's go through that again. He does an attack. I dodge it. Devil pay line into devil trigger, cancel. Fire a charge shot, jump, grab him. And then I just finish him off with another charge shot. So for the Fury, we're gonna deviate quite a lot from how I originally fought him. The two major differences are that first, we're not gonna shoot him as he stands up, because we wanna fight him stylish as long as possible to get as much style points as possible. And the second major difference is that instead of just shooting him with the gun after we parry his attack, we're gonna do a combo sequence to maximize the style points. On Hell in Hell also, he usually only does 2 different moves, compared to Dante Must Die where he does 3 different moves. So I'm just gonna show the 2 different moves he usually does. So the first move he does is he blinks with his eyes, does 1 fake, and attacks immediately after the fake. The second move is he leans forward, pulls out his sword, and blinks with his eyes, and attacks immediately. So he blinks with his eyes, does 1 fake, and after the fake I parry immediately, forward plus gerbera. So he leans forward, pulls out his sword, blinks with his eyes, and attacks immediately. And as soon as I see him blink with his eye on that move, I parry. Here comes the fake again. Here comes the immediate attack again. And as you can see, it's not complicated at all. You just know how he telegraphs his attacks. And then I just add the combo sequence as you're seeing here. And the combo sequence is I parry, caliber, do a pay line after the caliber, cancel the pay line with devil trigger, launch him, jump, and grab him. So he blinks with his eyes, does 1 fake, I parry, caliber, pay line. And I missed the grab there, so I did a launch instead. And then I grabbed him after the launch. He pulls out his sword, attacks immediately. And if you time it, just jump, just use the 2 air hikes and jump around with the gerbera, and he will never hit you. He pulls out his sword, he's gonna attack immediately, caliber into pay line. Okay, so now I'm gonna let it play out here. He does his fake, a caliber, pay line, devil trigger, launch him, jump, grab him. He pulls out his sword, leans down, he attacks immediately. I parry, caliber, and then I just do the launch instead of the grab to to mix it up and get some style points. So the Behemoth is another enemy you just hammer. As you can see here, I caliber towards him, start wailing at him, activate devil trigger, trying to knock off his armor. There, the armor went off. I do a few attacks in between, grab him, and then I'll just finish him before he can do anything at all. Let's go through that again. So I caliber towards him, start wailing, initiate devil trigger, continue hammering him. I knock off his armor, do a few attacks in between, grab, and then I finish him off before he can do anything at all. And the Lusachia and the Baphomet, you could consider them a special enemy because they require some attention in the fights. Whenever there are Baphomet or a Lusachia in a fight, you want to focus them because they can shoot and teleport around. but they're not really special enemies because the regular baseline does work on them. There is a small twist to the Lusachia though. But what I do first is I caliber towards her, knock off her shield, and then do the baseline. But I have to anticipate that after I've done a few attacks like you're seeing now, it will teleport away and start charging up their attacks. So then I have to caliber and knock off the shield again, and then I just finish it off. And here is a fight where with other enemies. So I focus the Lusachia here. And as you just saw, what I tend to do also is I pay line and devil trigger cancel the pay line to knock off the shield when there are other enemies to make sure I get the shield off and she won't that she won't teleport again. And then it's just into the baseline against the riots here. And the Baphomet is the same. You caliber towards it to knock off its shield, but you don't have to worry about it teleporting away. So whenever you're knocked off the shield, you can just do the baseline. But as you're seeing here, I use the first part of the baseline to gain max height to get the camera off the other Baphomet so it won't shoot me. And then I just repeat the caliber, knock off the shield and the baseline. Lastly, let's also try to establish a baseline for the bosses. The general idea is that you caliber towards them, do a few attacks, jump cancel off them, and then when they retaliate, you gerbera away, shoot to stay in the air, and then when they finish doing their attack pattern, you caliber back to them and repeat. So against Goliath, I caliber towards him, as you're seeing here, do a few attacks, jump cancel off him, wait for him to retaliate, then I gerbera away, shoot to stay in the air, and then I gerbera or caliber back. And then I just repeat. So whenever he attacks, I focus on that I gerbera away and make sure I jump, cancel off him whenever I'm close to him. So I reset the caliber. And then I just repeat this. And it builds style and does decent damage. And Artemis is also the same, but you wait for her to do an attack before you do anything. So she doesn't attack now. I gerbera to close the distance and then I caliber towards her, jump cancel off her. When she does her attacks, I gerbera away, shoot to stay in the air. And then I just caliber or jump back. And now she's retaliating with her scream, so I gerbera away and then I do the caliber. And Malphas is also the same. You wait for her to dish out her attacks, dodge with the gerbera, but just spam the gerbera. And then when she comes out of her attacking animation, you caliber towards her, initiate devil trigger, and start wailing at her. Now she's attacking again, so I'm just using the caliber. She comes out of her teleport, and I caliber towards her. But for the bosses, I'm gonna go through all their moves and break them down in the actual mission videos. Showing you how to dodge each specific move and what to keep in mind when you fight them. Alright, so that should cover everything for now. By using these strategies I show you here, you will be able to play both safe and stylish at the same time, which should also net you the required 5,500 style points and allow for taking up to 2 hits on each mission. So, at least on its face value, the requirements to S-rank all the Hell and Hell missions to get the Platinum Trophy or 100% on Steam or Xbox respectively may amount to a 10 out of 10 difficulty ranking. The arguments against this have, as I mentioned, been the auto-assist strategy for V and the Dr. Faust hat cheese for Dante. But Nero has still been considered the major bottleneck for getting the Worthy of Legend achievement or trophy. My intention with this guide is therefore to show you how to work around the Nero Hell and Hell difficulty rating, lowering the difficulty overall to probably a 6 or a 7 out of 10 at the most. Nero intrinsically, thanks to his caliber, wire snatch, and devil trigger launch abilities, is in my opinion the most powerful and fluid of the three characters to play. And pulling off the baseline once you get the basics down isn't input heavy or hard to do at all. And for the most so-called special enemies, you can just devil trigger launch them and do a showdown for the most part. Just make sure you leave them for last in every encounter and use the camera manipulation part of the baseline. As you may have noticed, I pulled off a lot of exceeds and max acts and got a few triple S ranks in the fights. But you don't need to do that for the most part. Getting an exceed off the slash is enough to keep the style meter up, and it doesn't even need to be max acted. For the required 5,500 style points, getting regular S ranks and a few double S here and there is usually enough, as long as you get some style points on the bosses also, which isn't hard to do once you get it down, how their attack patterns work and abuse the gerbera dodge. So if we know that we can take up to 2 hits per mission by playing both safe and stylish at the same time, by either staying in the air and manipulating the camera, or utilizing specific, very aggressive tactics, then it will hopefully counteract the nervousness and tediousness that is often associated with the Hell in Hell difficulty in this game. As a whole, what I hope to achieve with this guide here is to take something that both in theory and on its face value seems tedious, random, and unfair, and turn it into something that you will have full control over, and thus, in return, turn it into a fair challenge, and most important of all, something fun. If you like this content or content of this kind, feel free to subscribe, as I will put up the specific Nero and V mission, and also a introductory video for V in the coming days. I'm also currently working on a Dante Must Die S-Rank guide.